Hey guys, what's up? My name is Chris and welcome back to another Soul Calibur creation video. This time I actually, this one is a request from a friend of mine. This is ARTORIAS from Dark Souls. I haven't played Dark Souls, but he's a big fan of it, so I was like, you know what, why not? So I decided to just go ahead and do him.
I can't run.
Why do you choose to fight?
He was actually pretty interesting to do just because there were a lot of limitations, but like his original design was actually pretty freaking cool. So I was excited to see how close I can get to it. I also had to speed up this footage too because it was originally 21 minutes and I was like, no, that ain't gonna fly. And I didn't want to cut anything out. So I did end up having to speed it up quite a bit, actually. Cut it right in half, though, so that worked out for me. I, of course, didn't speed up the certain things like the voice just then. I wasn't going to speed that up because, you know what it's going to sound like, and I want you to actually hear the voice that I picked for this guy. My first limitation, though, was the helmet. So Nightmare's helmet actually was really nice and could have worked. However, just that giant fucking horn there kind of just ruined it. If I could get it without the horn, but in Nightmare's form, that would have been perfect. But there was just none of that. So I had to go for this knight's helm. So I had to use a mask to cover the lower half of his face, and you'll see what I do to the top half of his face, because the thumbnail is going to have a reference image, but essentially you can't see his face at all on this character. It's just like pitch darkness going on in there, so I had to do my best in trying to create that. And he also, you know how those helmets have like the poofy stuff in the back? Yeah, this is what I'm doing for that. I actually saw a different YouTuber, I don't remember the name of them. They did something similar to it, and I was like, actually that's a great idea for this thing. So there's a lot of people that create the very like silly characters, and they will do whatever it takes to make him look like that character. And for me, I do have my certain limitations of what I'm wanting to do, because I don't want them to just look downright ridiculous. I actually want them to, maybe they're not 100% accurate, but just certain items just shouldn't be used in certain ways, because then it looks ridiculous. It happened with Soul Calibur 5-2 in a couple videos that I saw for that one, but that's just how I do the characters anyway. I just want them to look awesome and like the least amount of silly as possible. So, but yeah, I had my friend help me, and by that I mean just tell me about the character. So like my weapon choice, I need to know about that, about how he played, just so I could choose the perfect weapon. Unfortunately, the stance and how he holds the weapon isn't right. Sigurd's or Nightmare's would have been better for that because he's one-handed, but unfortunately the way that he plays is more speedy in comparison to Nightmare. So I ended up having to go for Mitsurugi just because he had the speed aspect to him and he was still sword, that kind of thing, even so that he was two-handed, whereas this character is one-handed when it comes to the sword. So I was a little bit saddened by that, but I decided to go playstyle over actual weapon design. I'm a little like 50-50 on that. I think for me it depends on the character. Also there I was reading I have my notes sheet and everything about all the colors listed on it, all the locations. So that one I looked at like a different one on accident, and I was like, wait a minute, I know this is supposed to be blue, but why is this color gray? I just looked at it wrong. That's usually like any of the mistakes I make. I usually just look at the wrong one on accident, and that's how it happens. The first time I created this character too, I also hadn't give feedback on it before I decided to do this video, because one, I wanted to know how he looked in comparison to the original, of course, but at first I did his armor way too black in my first trial run of it, because in the photos I didn't get I couldn't find the clearest photos, so to me in the photos they always looked a bit more black than gray. But he said, nah, they're totally more on the gray side, so I had to gray it up a little bit. I did love the chainmail underneath. I thought, like, I was like, yeah, that's a great addition. So is the belt and the, like, basically everything. And I love how the scarf combined with those paddle, whatever the shoulder pads are called. I love that. And here I'm doing the scars, which his armor in the photo references that I used were pretty, like, beat up. And unfortunately, I could only use, like, 4 scars, and this is what takes me the most time, or 4 stickers, I mean. But I wanted to show these dents, and these scars actually worked, like, perfectly for that. So I wish I could have used more, honestly, but you know, there's that limitation, and it would have taken me so much longer, I'm not gonna lie, but it was fun to actually get to use these scars and make the armor look pretty damaged, you know, so that was cool. Yeah, I love how the scarf turned out, and it's funny because the scarf and the paddle-ons or whatever, the shoulder pad things, they're not the same exact color of blue, but they basically look like it, so I was like, you know what, that works. It's a little bit of it different. I think the shoulder pads are a little bit more on the purpley side, just like a touch, but they're actually pretty similar, so I think these turned out great. The only thing that I can say I'm a little bit disappointed on is just the helmet, you know, just because he does have, like, the hood more so, and it just conceals his face, but also with the helmet, his original design is just so freaking cool. Again, I don't play Dark Souls. I'm shit at those games, and so I tend to avoid them because I just can't. I just can't. But doing this character was really, really freaking fun, and I would love to do maybe some other Dark Souls characters if he, you know, recommends any more to me, of course. But I think Nightmare's armor works pretty well for Dark Souls. Other than his helmet, of course, because that giant fucking horn. I wish I could just, like, chop it off, you know, because then that would have been the perfect fucking helmet. And I could have maybe layered a hood on top of it. Some of the helmets don't work with, like, the majority of the hoods, of course, but, you know, there might have been 1 or 2 thrown in there, so yeah, I hope you guys are liking how it turns out. I think this is this the one? No. There is one of the motifs that I basically have to go back and change just because I did projection instead of rotation without realizing it. I kind of realized it because I was like, wait a minute, I wrote down axis and not angle, and I was like, oh, that's weird. Maybe I was just, you know, on the other things I'd kept writing down axis, but it's just because I messed up on that. That's the only reason. Trying to get a scarf was interesting too because, again, this character has so much detail in him, so trying to get that scarf right. I did my best, honestly. I think it came out okay. I think it at least looks really nice. It might not be exactly accurate to how he looks, but I think the motifs that I chose were at least really nice, and they layered well with the blue. He's just an overall really fucking cool character. I'm actually going to be really upset because if they do, and they are going to do DLC, but if they do a helmet that has like that poofiness in the back, I'll be so angry. But anyway, I actually, once again, I still don't have any characters off the top of my head that I want to do, so if you do have any suggestions, again, feel free to leave them down below. And I will definitely try my best, so I enjoy making these a lot. They're pretty fun. My notes is like an entire page worth, and my handwriting's awful, so half the time I can't even read what I wrote. But I get the hang of it eventually, you know, so don't worry. I am going to slow down the speed in a little bit here. I still have to debate if I want to just change the music because it's just sped up music and it's kind of annoying me the more I listen to it while I'm recording this audio, so I'm like, maybe I should because this is actually a little annoying just having like most of the episode music being sped up too. So I can probably find something along the lines. For his weapon too, I didn't really care too much about the colors. I just knew that the handles needed to be the blue and the sword was black, so and I'm just doing that. His actual sword is really cool too, so Anyway, I'm going to head on out of here for now, so I hope you guys enjoyed it. Please let me know what you think of this character as well, and again, any suggestions would be much appreciated. So I hope you guys have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye!
Fight! You feel fear! Forfeit! Before me! Feel fear! Yo! This is it! Taste power! Now be gone! Eternal sleep! Weak!